Highlights, obviously a major highlight as far as Rangers were concerned was that opening goal from Jamie Ness, and it was a fantastic opening goal in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it was a perfect start for Rangers, as I said before. I mean, it won't have many better than that, and they can't ask for a better start than that. And the boys obviously delighted, and a great start gives the Rangers a boost. But it was a great start from Rangers first 5-10 minutes, but they seemed to sort of take their foot off the gas after that. I think maybe they thought that. Which is surprising, because when you get a good start like that, usually you can go on and continue that spell, but Celtic showed a wee bit of character. They come back into it from then, but I mean, it's a perfect start, as I say. It won't hit any better than that, and as I say, the thing that will surprise me, that they never really capitalised on the early start that they had.
Yeah, and Rangers couldn't really build on that, and actually Celtic had a couple of good chances, and then they got their goal, and that was a really nice build up to the Celtic goal, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, Celtic passed the ball about quite well, and they do that, and as I said, they had a wee bit of fortune this year with the pass through it, a deflection off Edu, and then it kind of caught Rangers a wee bit on guard, and Commons follows it into the box and scores, so it was maybe justified in terms of possession, as I say, a wee bit of luck it got them the goal, but as I say, Rangers again will be disappointed to lose a goal like that, and it got Celtic back in the game.
You never felt Celtic were out of it though, did you?
No, in terms of possession, I think the disappointing for ball, obviously, if you've not got as much of the ball, then obviously you can't really control the game. I think Celtic had a lot of the ball, which lets them dictate a wee bit of the spell of play and control the game, which certainly, if you're a home team, you don't want that to happen, so I think that's a big disappointment for them, as I say, especially the second half when they had the extra man for long spells and they were 2-1 up. I think that's the most disappointing Rangers. But as I say, Celtic, I think, will be pleased with the way they played today, and Rangers will be more disappointed.
Yeah, and Celtic kept pushing, but that goal equaliser was in 15 minutes, and then the penalty incident came just more or less before half-time, and perfect timing for Rangers to get the lead at half-time. Yeah,
you always say that there's no better time to get a goal right on half-time, and they did that, and the boost for Rangers, obviously, that Celtic lost the goalkeeper as well, so as I said at half-time, I fancy the Rangers strongly to go in and maybe win the game quite comfortably, but
you did say that.
Yeah, I did. But as I said, the only advantage for Celtic, that they had half time to discuss how they were going to get back in the game, and I think they did that. Obviously, Neil Lennon decided to throw Sam Maratson into the equation as well, and that certainly changed the sort of way that Rangers defended against them. They won up front, they weren't really getting much joy.
And another well-taken penalty from Stephen Whittaker.
Yeah, he put it away well. He's taken a few now. Obviously, Kenny Miller away now. That Whittaker seems to be the named penalty taker, and he certainly put that away with much easier. So
2-1 at half time, and as you said, we did expect Rangers to kind of push on. Things were looking good at that point, and Jelovic had a good match. He went off later on, but he did have a good match, and he had some great chances.
Yeah, for such a big tall lad, and quite a physical player, he has got a great touch, and he moves the ball quick. He's got good feet, so I mean, this is a lovely attempt, just a wee bit too much on it. He's up there on his own and having to do a lot of work on his own, but he was very unlucky there. As I say, great touch, great feet, and he looks as if he'll.
And good strength as well.
Yeah, a big strong boy as well. As I say, a good touch. So I think Rangers have got certainly a good player there. I think he'll get better as time goes on. Obviously, he's been missing now for a few months with an ankle injury, so I think he'll get better as it goes. So it's looking good for Rangers.
And he was playing with Diouf for the first time, and actually there was enough there, I think, for Rangers fans to think this could work quite well. They combined pretty well at times.
Yeah, I think they'll be pleased. I think maybe that was their first game together. They started, so a great ball in by Diouf there, and Jelovic maybe a wee bit disappointed he doesn't make contact there. As I say, if Rangers get the goal there 3-1, I don't see Celtic getting back in the game, but the longer it goes at 2-1, as I say, Celtic a wee bit of confidence from that, and it so happened to be they did equalise it.
The margins are so tiny, aren't they? It's just, even with this, it's just not quite there.
No, as I say, some they go for, some they don't, and he may be disappointed he didn't put that in the net. So, but as I say, it's fine margins, and if you don't take your chances there when they come around, then you get punished, and that's what happened. I think, as I say, with the strong possession that Celtic had.
It was a minute later after that.
If you're standing off them, they stood them off a wee bit and let them play the ball about and dictate the tempo of the play, and maybe a chance to clear lines, not clearing it properly here, and it goes back to Brown, and I don't think he'll hit many better with his left foot again here. He just angles it into the corner. It was a very good finish there, but as I say, Rangers were disappointed that they maybe didn't close it down and clear the lines earlier than they did. So, but as I say, the momentum was down with Celtic at this point here, and
he took it well.
Yeah, he did. As I say, he just guided it, and he didn't really have to blast it. He just placed it in the corner, and Alan McGregor's a wee bit unsighted on it here, you know, so you see a few players in front of him there and he just guides into the corner. So as I say, that's a big disappointing goal to lose for Rangers there. And as I say, I think Rangers of the two teams will be more disappointed and have to go and now play another game, which is the last thing they needed.
Busy calendar.
With the calendar they've got, as I say, European games, etc., etc. With Rangers having a small squad that can maybe take its toll, but hopefully it won't.
2-2 then at that point, still not over. Still quite a long way to go. That second goal for Celtic in 64 minutes. So time for Rangers still to push on and get that winning goal, and they nearly did.
Yeah, that was another good pass. Jelevich makes a good run into the channel there, and he plays a good ball across. It's just maybe a yard too much on it, 2 yards too much. I mean, I think maybe he could have played it a wee bit earlier there. He just waited and the goalkeeper shut the angle down and maybe forced him to play just a wee bit more pace than he would have liked. And as I say, unfortunately, Davis if he was maybe a foot bigger, he may have got on that. He's not the biggest.
But then
player,
if he had, then it would have hit the goalkeeper. So it was the margins there again.
That's right. As I say, the game is about fine margins, and that was just an unlucky chance for Rangers that if they put away, they say they might win on and win the game. And
10-man Celtic, which we keep on having to remind ourselves of, did particularly well to have another chance up at the other end. And Bugera did his stuff well.
Yeah, I mean it's great defending here for Bugera. He just gets a toe in that, because if he doesn't, Samras has got a tap in, I think, you know. So it was great defending there, you know. But as I say, the big surprise was this is Celtic with 10 men, and to dominate there for spells at home against Rangers was a big surprise, you know. So as I say, that would be the disappointing thing for Rangers, but I mean, on the plus side, they're still in the cup, so they just have to put themselves up and make sure that they're still in their chance to get through.
And I know Rangers players almost expect these kinds of things of Alan McGregor now, and he did produce another fantastic save to stop Celtic.
Yeah, I mean, McGregor's a fantastic goalkeeper, you know, and this is just reflex, you know. He doesn't know much about it, but he makes himself big, body big, and his arms up, you know. And he gets a great block on it, you know. As I think the commentary on it says, like an Andy Gorham type save, you know. He's big and he makes himself big and strong there, and makes a good touch on it, and it's point blank, you know. It's a superb save. You don't see many better than that.
Well placed cross and just in the right position, and getting good stuff by.
Yeah, they were dangerous to set pieces Celtic. They could have a few big players in there, you know. So they had a couple of chances in this spell that Rangers were glad to see they didn't put it away. So. I mean, it was a funny tie, because when Rangers been the home team, they were sort of counter-attacking more than Celtic, you know, and Celtic had more of the play, which normally happens via the home team, you know. So that's the thing. Rangers were counter-attacking and looked dangerous on the break, you know, and they'd be disappointed maybe didn't score any more than they did. But as I say, they're still in the tie and there's still plenty to play for.
There was, I think, at that point, something like 7 yellow cards and a red, and we thought that this half might produce a red, but perhaps not. Quite in this fashion. What do you think of Naismith sending off here? Yeah,
well, I mean, when you see back, there was not contact there, so he'll be disappointed himself. You know, it's maybe the momentum he's taking him down there, but I mean, it just shows you now the silly dive in, the yellow card he got earlier in the game for lunging in. It cost him now really dearly, so he'll be disappointed.
There didn't appear to be a lot of contact there.
No, I think you can see there's not much there at all, so I think he'll be disappointed himself. But as I say, the early booking cost him, and unfortunately he had to go off after that, but I think it was the correct decision.
76 minutes, did that change things much for Rangers, do you think? 10 against 10 with what, 10 or so minutes to go?
No, I don't think it changed so much. I think the pattern of the play just kept going the way as it was, you know, so I think Celtic were still passing the ball about and Rangers were trying to counter attack, you know, so it didn't change things too much, you know, and I think the game kind of petered out after that, and there wasn't so many instances after that, so as I say, I think Rangers will be disappointed to only draw at home when they had the game maybe in their hands earlier on.
So and certainly we noticed the Celtic fans going home from here an awful lot happier than the Rangers fans.
Yeah, because at half time I think Rangers, and most of the people in this ground, will expect Rangers to go in and comfortably win the game. So it was a bit of a surprise that Celtic they got back into the game with 10 men and again dominated as much as they did in the second half. I think that's what the disappointing thing for Rangers, with the extra man, that they should maybe up to tempo a wee bit, maybe made more of a game, or kept the ball a wee bit better than they did, because if you've got the ball, then you're going to stop the other team scoring. It's as simple as that, you know, so that would be the big disappointment for them. But as I say, they're still in the tie and there's still a lot to play for.
In terms of the league, what do you think the impact will be in terms of the title race between obviously Rangers and Celtic?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's they always say the form goes out the window in games like you can't really tell who's going to win, you know, so I think Rangers will play better this season and they'll play worse, you know, but I think Celtic maybe take more out of this game than Rangers, you know, obviously getting a draw at Ibrox and playing for a long spell with 10 men, you know, I think they'll take more out of it, so let's see how Rangers respond from that. But as I say, it's a one-off game, it's a cup tie. Whether that'll affect the league too much, then we'll have to wait and see.
And Rangers going to be thinking, oh God, another game that we've got to kind of deal with, or we think, well, at least we're still in it?
Yeah, I think a wee bit of both. I think they'd rather had the tie done and dusted, you know, because, as I say, I think with the schedule they've got, and they have got quite a small squad, you know, I think it maybe take its toll in terms of injuries and suspensions, you know, so I think they'd rather done without it. And as I say, they had a chance to maybe put it to bed, but as I say, Celtic showed a good bit of character to come back in, and they're still in the tie.
And will Walter have learned much about his new players today?
Yeah, I think so. I think
certainly
Diouf. I think he'll add to the team. As I say, he's an experienced player. He's got quality as well. So, and he's still got Healy and Bartley still to come in as well. So I think they'll certainly be utilised a lot more in the coming weeks.
Right, Brian. That means, of course, in the cup, the last 8 looks like this: Dundee United, St Mirren, Brechin City, Inverness and Motherwell, and of course Rangers or Celtic. And 3 ties still outstanding: St Johnstone and Partick Thistle. And there's this afternoon's Aberdeen-Dunfermline game as well. Rangers and Celtics replay on the 2nd of March. Out of those teams, you still would fancy one of the old firm to win the cup, Brian, wouldn't you, probably?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think it was a big surprise when Rangers got Celtic at this early stage. You know, the old square balls never seem to work. You know, so it was a bit of a shock that they did. I was at the draw. I think it was Biffy Clyro that did it. You know, I think the gasp in the studio at Hampden. When they did come out, it's unusual, you know. So, but I think certainly it'll still be one of these teams here that win.
If it's neither of them, who would you pick out of those other ones?
Well, I think Dundee United have obviously they're holders, so they'll be one of the favourites. And St Johnstone are showing great form now under Derek McInnes. I think they could be maybe a dark horse in it. You know, they're always hard to beat just now, and they're on a good run of form. So, I think possibly one of these ones.
So your tip, one of the old firm getting Brechin City in the next round?
Well, I think the board at Brechin will certainly want that, you know, in terms of the financial aspects of it. So I think they draw straight not long after. It's coming up now, so it'll be interesting to see who they get. But I think most of the teams now will fancy their chance against Brechin, obviously being a second division part-time club. I think that's most teams will be wanting them. But as I say, Brechin are quite a stubborn wee team, and you never know what can happen in the cup. There's been shocks so far, so you never know, there might be another one.
All right, Brian, thank you. My thanks to Brian for his contribution this afternoon. I'm back for league business next week. Rangers against Motherwell. In the meantime, you can catch up with reaction to that Scottish Cup draw on rangers.co.uk.